30 and good Thursday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice. You're on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. I'm your host this morning, Colin Worthington. Our guests, if you look on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, you can see them sitting to my left. Mr. Scott Cosper, sitting to my right, Mr. Johnny Wright. They are with the Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management. I believe this is the third time you guys have been on the program, right, or at least with me, to discuss this. The Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management was formed by many concerned Haralson County residents whose homes are located in the vicinity of a landfill, which is being proposed by the group Solid Solutions. Solid Solutions has been on this program a couple of times as well, and they will be back on the program next Monday, which is actually the day before a rezoning to accommodate their proposed landfill and industrial park. We'll have a public hearing with the Haralson County Commissioners. That'll be at a work session. Is it 6 o'clock on Tuesday?
6 o'clock.
All right, that'll be the work session, and then there'll be another, I guess they'll make their decision scheduled for March
the
1st at this point. If you'll recall, the first public hearing was with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it did end with the commissioners there recommending that the rezoning be denied. But in the end, it's going to be the decision of the Haralson County Board of Commissioners. Again, Johnny Wright, Scott Cosper, thanks for coming out this morning, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Well, you guys sat through that 42 hours of the Planning and Zoning meeting.
It was a long meeting.
Yeah. Anything that you, any questions you have left over after watching that? Any new questions that you guys left that meeting with after hearing the presentations?
Well, one of the things they kept putting fact. They say fact versus our emotion. Of course, you know we're going to be emotional, but also the facts don't kind of line up either. That they're saying that, you know, there's a need for this, and there's no apparent need right now for a landfill in West Georgia. And they keep going back to saying, well, there is one, but they ain't. And also,
yeah. And if I can interject right there, Scott, don't lose your train of thought there. But Haralson County, my understanding, generates about 93 tons of trash a day. This proposed landfill capacity is expected to be 4,000 tons a day. 93 tons that Haralson County generates, and this thing's going to be able to take 4,000 tons a day. So, if you do the math on that, it's about 2%. Haralson County's trash is about 2% of the daily capacity of this thing. So, the need is not there. And what we say is what the need is for these developers to be able to make a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, is there a landfill in every county in the state of Georgia?
I don't know if there's one in every county. I don't know if
is there a landfill that accommodates each county? Because
and what I understand is that they are moving to regional landfills now, which this region already has one. Polk County has a regional landfill that several of the counties in this area utilize. One of the things is, and I know the capacity of that Polk County landfill is still at 20 to 30 years. Mm-hmm. So, it's not like Haralson County or this region's needing another landfill. They want this because of Metro Atlanta and the opportunity for them to be able to make a lot of money. So I think that's what the need is.
Well, you guys believe in capitalism, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. They got this plan to make money. I don't think there's any doubt that that's what they do,
right,
to make money. They got to find some place to do it. Did you want to continue your thought?
Well, I just also they was talking about they were going to have an exit lane or a lane off the interstate for their trucks, not going to affect traffic. Well, they've got to get back on I-20 somewhere.
Exactly.
They got to go back under I-20 through 2 red lights. Mm-hmm. And how are they going to fix that?
Yeah, and they don't talk. Notice they don't talk about getting back, on Highway 100 or getting back on I-20. And I like to ask them, are they going to have an airstrip? Are they going to airlift these trash trucks back to where they came from? No, they're going to get back out and making left-hand turns to get onto the road and turning back on, to the interstate if they're going back to Atlanta. And if they don't do that, then they got to go through Tallapoosa and Waco and possibly Bremen. So it's and we're talking at the very start increased traffic flow of about 42 vehicles an hour if you use their numbers and assume a 10-hour day. But when this thing really gets up and running at its peak, we're talking another 200 vehicles per hour. So, at that, it's already a congested intersection right there. with all the truck traffic getting off to go to the truck stops and that sort of thing. And plus, it is the number one lottery spot in the state as well. So you got tons of traffic coming from Alabama to get off there. So I can't imagine how bad the traffic would be there with that many additional vehicles.
And one other point I'd like to make on this is one of their ads talked about everybody from Haralson County driving out of county to work. How about the people that come from out of county to work in Haralson County, like Honda and some of the plants in Tallapoosa? I mean, that's just everybody going to go wherever they want to work. It ain't,
And another thing, too.
In saying that, was a suggestion that they don't have to drive out of town?
Right, that's what they're implying that in their ads.
They're implying that, people have to go work other places. Well, that's a lot of people's their choice to do that. And a lot of people, like living in a smaller community. But one other thing they like to talk about is, when they say this selection chose itself, that this is such a remote part of the county. I mean, you would think this thing's in the middle of New Mexico or something by the way they talk. But my information is that within a 2-mile radius, there's 278 homes within a 2-mile radius there. Within a 3-mile radius, there's almost 800 homes. So, I mean, this is not like it's sitting out in the middle of New Mexico or something like that. There's a lot of people going to be impacted, their quality of life, their the values of their homes. We talk a lot about landfills often, have the smells that go along with them. So now they like to say, oh, but that's a myth. That's not true. But we think there's plenty of evidence nationwide. All you got to do is Google landfill odors, and you can find it all over the country. And these are with these newer Subtitle D regulation landfills that have all the requirements on them. So this is not like it's not going to affect a lot of people. It's not in a extremely remote location.
Johnny Wright and Scott Cosper, our guests on this morning's Community Voice, Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, as we discuss this proposed landfill for Haralson County. What do you guys think about Haralson County's growth over the next 10, 15 years? Do you think that Haralson County is going to be able to remain a mostly rural community? I mean, we look at Villa Rica. Villa Rica is expecting 10,000 people to be in there in the next 2-3 years. I mean, do you think Haralson County is going to survive that?
Oh yeah, I think we're poised for growth, for responsible growth. And we've got people who we've been in touch with our county development board, and we understand that there's great demand out there for it. Our concern is you bring a massive landfill in like this, it's going to hurt our opportunities for growth. They're talking about bringing in this industrial park as part of that, and we think that's all just a ruse. That's just lipstick on a pig. That they're trying to make this thing look good, but this thing, that industrial park is going to have a shared drive with this landfill. Now imagine, all this truck traffic, coming by, garbage truck traffic, and you work at this industrial park, and then you've got to leave. Well, there's a line of about 6 garbage trucks that you got to wait behind before you can get back out on Highway 100. This, to me, is lipstick on a pig that they're proposing. And, our county, one other thing they say is 80% of the people we talk to, they don't want anything. They don't want any growth. They don't want anybody moving to the county. And
that would be my question. I mean, really, do you believe Haralson County wants that?
I don't know who he's talking to, but I know, the Haralson Alliance and most of the people that we know, we do want growth. We want the right kind of growth, responsible growth, and we think this mega landfill would hurt our chances for growth. A real clear example of that is there's been realtors. I mentioned this in the last public hearing. There's been realtors that say that one of the problems they've got right now is when people are coming to look for homes that are from outside the county, they come in and they see all these no landfill signs, stop the dump, and all these signs, and they say, what's going on here? Well, the realtor tells them, that there's, a development group that's looking at putting a regional landfill here. And they say, you know what, we think we're going to wait about looking to buy something here for now.
Well, why not take the signs down?
Well, we will take them down. But I mean, that's probably what they would say is why not take those signs down? But that would be just what Solid Solutions want, is to stop awareness of this thing. So I mean, but that just goes to show you people's reaction, and we think it would be the same not only for potential residents coming here, but for businesses coming here as well.
We before we take our first break here, let me stick. We think about if there is potential growth for Haralson County. I mean, I couldn't put a number on it, but in 15 years, who's to say that they wouldn't need a landfill that size? I mean, if you're getting ahead of the ball game.
Well, you're talking about right now, Haralson County generates 2% of the capacity that they're talking about here. Growth is great, but I don't think we're going to have that kind of growth.
And my opinion's always been, if we need a landfill, let's do it, but not for all of Metro Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Time right now is 8:41. Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, our guests on this morning's Community Voice program. Johnny Wright, Scott Cosper, our guests, and questions and comments. I'm sure you guys probably, people post a lot of support for you guys on that Facebook, but any kind of questions or suggestions, I'll take a look and see if we can share those on this morning's program. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
I'm Michael Flynn, Oak Mountain Academy class of 1978.
Katie Flynn, class of 2010.
Justin Flynn, class of 2014.
Logan Flynn, class of 2019.
And I'm Marnie Flynn, current teacher at OMA.
My uncle Richard Owen Flynn, a founding father of Oak Mountain Academy, had a vision to see students become confident leaders who hold a faith-based value system in an academically rigorous environment. We are proud to celebrate 60 years of fulfilling my uncle's vision.
Our family invites you to visit the campus or oakmountain.us today.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
8:42. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I'm Colin Worthington. Our guests, Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, Scott Cosper, and Johnny Wright, our guests this morning. This interview today is ahead of the public hearing with the Haralson County Board of Commissioners. Their work session is coming up Tuesday at 6 o'clock. On Monday of next week, we'll actually have Solid Solutions back on this program, too. That'll be the day before that presentation. What legal reasons are you guys aware of to where the Haralson County Board of Commissioners can actually turn down a rezoning? What would... because there's been lots of talk about potential litigation if it's poo-pooed on, but, what legal reasons can they deny that?
Well, one of the things they like to talk about is that this, they're meeting all federal, state, and requirements, local requirements, and all that, and they're going to build the best landfill in the history of the world. It's going to meet all these regulations and all. And I noticed in their last interview here last time, Mr. Kaufman himself said, talking about local ordinances, he said, and this is a quote, "If you meet all those zoning ordinances, you should be able to have your permit." Well, I want to point out that their own rezoning application points out that they would be in violation of two ordinances. Haralson County has height and buffer limitations on things, and I'm reading right from this is from our package that our attorney gave to the zoning board at the last hearing, but according to the Haralson County Ordinance, Section 50, paragraph 15-4, the applicant seeks two variances. The first, the applicant seeks to reduce the width of the buffer required by that section, that ordinance I just quoted. That buffer, or that says there must be a buffer of 500 feet around something like this. Their application seeks to reduce that to 200 feet. And then the ordinance also has a height restriction. The height restriction is 50 feet. The application is asking them to increase that or allow for a variance up to 260 feet. The ordinance also says that variances may be authorized by the county zoning administrator based on hardship and physical attributes of the property, so long as there is no more than a 10% change. Okay, so they're wanting on the height variance, they're wanting to go from 50 feet up to 260 feet. That's a 420% increase, a lot more than the 10% that the ordinance says there can be a variance made for. And as far as the buffer around it, they're wanting to change that from 500 feet to only a 200 feet buffer. That's a 60% change, which is much more than the 10%. So we think, that alone is something that our county zoning, our county commissioners could deny the request for. But again, Mr. Kaufman says if you meet all the zoning ordinances by the county, you should be able to have your permit. Well, he doesn't meet all those.
Lost my train of thought there. As far as those buffers, you guys obviously have done a lot of research and done a lot of homework. Are there examples in Haralson County of those not similar properties, but of anybody getting that variance? When they've asked for a variance on buffers.
I'm not sure of that. That would be a good question, for our attorney. So.
Okay. Well, how do you guys think your attorneys did do at their presentation at that Planning and Zoning Commission?
I was real pleased with the way they handled everything that day.
Mm-hmm. We were well pleased. Our attorneys are going to take much more of the forefront in the next meeting. At the time we had the zoning board hearing, we were still working with our experts, the attorneys were still working with the experts on, all of the studies that they were doing with regard to, the environment, the economic impacts, and that sort of thing. So in this coming meeting, we're going to be talking a lot more about that. And, of course, Solid Solutions likes to talk about, we only put forth facts, and the other side, all they do is put forth emotion. Emotion is a very important part of this thing. I mean, if somebody's wanting to put a dump in your backyard, you're going to get pretty emotional about it. And I think that's why the county is so unified and stirred up about this. But our attorney at the coming meeting is going to be presenting a lot more studies and that sort of thing. And the purpose of this, we've spent a lot of money on that, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. But the purpose of that is to give our commissioners more than just an emotional, no, the people don't want this. We want to give them some studies, some factual data to where it gives them more of a reason to say no to this.
Is it going to be health data? Is it going to be as far as, that doesn't produce jobs or doesn't, the traffic?
I think, there's going to be a lot of that stuff in there, all that stuff.
And you guys have encouraged people to go to those meetings. You talked about having maybe 1,000 people there for Tuesday. Why do you believe it's important to have so many people there?
Well, our theme on this is, and I hadn't talked to you about this yet, Scott, but Tommy and I were talking about last night, is our theme is to the county is your presence will speak much louder than their words. And so if we can pack that gymnasium up there were 300 people at the zoning board
at a 10 o'clock meeting,
in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning in a work day, which was very impressive. The whole side was filled. Some of the side was filled. They had the partition up, but in the gym. But my understanding is they're going to take that partition down. They're going to have plenty of seats out on the floor So I don't know what the capacity of that gym is, but I would love to see it filled up. And if there were 300 people at the zoning board in the morning of a work day, I think it's realistic to have over 1,000 people there, and that's what our desire is, to see a lot of people.
So you had 300 people there, and it turned out to be what, 5-hour long meeting. I mean, were you guys prepared for that length? Did you know it was going to take that long?
Kind of. I thought they were going to give an hour for each side, the applicant and then the opposition to speak. They wound up giving an hour and a half, and then there were time for some rebuttals, and then also they gave the public, anyone who wanted to speak from the public, 5 minutes to speak. A lot of those folks either were not there by that time or said, "Hey, what I was going to say has already been covered." So a lot of those folks didn't speak. But then there were time also for the zoning board members to ask questions, which I presume the commissioners may also ask questions.
Is there a set time for this, though? Is there something that's set, so it could be another long meeting,
but
it's long, though.
It's
6 o'clock. It's late at night, though.
Yeah.
6. So, okay. Again, our guest this morning, Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, Johnny Wright and Scott Cosper, our guests on this morning's Community Voice program. We'll take our final break and come back with about 8 minutes. The Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
As a believer in the power of education, we are called to set the standard by shaping and empowering the minds of future generations through quality education. Oak Mountain Academy embraces this philosophy, which is why my children attend this prestigious school. I am elated to serve on the OMA Board of Trustees, where together we prepare students and remind them to trust and believe in the power to transform the world. I'm Dr. Brian Bain, inviting you to celebrate our 60-year legacy of academic excellence. Visit us at oakmountain.us.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
8:52. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online, newstalk1330.com. We are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page right now at 8:52. So, when you're looking at this later on today and you're asking questions and we don't pay attention to them, it's because it's not live anymore. But this Facebook show will be up there forever, and at the end of this program, we'll have it on our website, newstalk1330.com. Under the podcast section. Our guests this morning, Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, Johnny Wright and Scott Cosper. Why are you two at the forefront of this? Why am I talking to you two guys every time? Why are you guys representing this group? Why is it important to you?
Well, Scott was the first one that found out about this, and he lives very close proximity to this. In fact, he had a business that the big part of the business. Yeah, the big part of the business, it was a wedding venue that a big part of that is the beauty of, the horizon. Well, this landfill would be sitting right in front of there. Now, it's not a selfish reason necessarily that he's doing this, but because he's now not in that business. Right. He's doing, his
But I plan to live there the rest of my life, and then my daughters will take it over. So
yeah,
I've got a pretty good farm there.
And I grew up in Buncombe community. I now live in Tallapoosa, and I didn't volunteer for this. I was just on the board. Tommy Crawford was originally the co-chair with Scott. Tommy is vice president of agriculture lending at Bank of the OZK now, and there were some strings pulled by, I won't say somebody on the other side, but they didn't want him in that position. Maybe he was doing such an effective job, and they, through some encouragement said, well, you may not be good for you to be chairing or on a board of something that, is against something while your bank is actually banking the county. So we kind of felt like that was a little bit of dirty games that were being played on us. And so when Tommy decided to step back, they asked me to step in, so I'm kind of the substitute guy.
Time right now is 8:55. I'd mentioned you guys did have an attorney who presented at that work session. How did you get in touch with this attorney? How are you paying for this? Because it can't be cheap.
Well,
unless they're very kind and they're doing pro bono.
Yeah, and it's it's very expensive, let me say. But we thought when we were looking to get legal representation for our group, we wanted to be local, use local attorneys. But this is a very big issue. These guys that we're up against have done this many times. They know how to do it, and it was recommended to us by several people that we talked to, both inside the state and outside the state, that we get a high-powered attorney, somebody that's from Atlanta. Our attorney Don Stack is from Atlanta, and this is primarily what he does: is environmental law and fights landfills and other things like this, and he's got a very good record. So he was recommended to us by people outside the state and inside the state, and we were fortunate to be able to get him. So
has he ever gone up against anybody who's in this group?
I think the attorneys he's familiar with, but as far as Solid Solutions, I don't think so.
Well, it's a different group now. I think people involved in it have been in different groups over the years putting this two together. All right. Well, as far as again, it costs money. Where's that coming from?
Yeah, and that was one thing we have not, up until now, we have not really talked about what our budget is, but we're in the home stretch on this thing. And we hope we get a no vote from the commissioners. But, we've still got to pay our legal bill. And to date, our Haralson Alliance, through fundraisers and through just donations from people in the community, have totaled about $95,000. That was through about a week ago. So we've raised about $95,000. Our total expected spend is going to be, about $150,000, $150,000 to $160,000, and primarily, I wrote down our expenses. Mindy Miller Moats from Miller Funeral Home is our treasurer, but I got this information from Mindy last week. Of that $160,000 budget we have, about $155,000 of that is going to be for legal and consultants, primarily Mr. Stack and his team. Now, all that's not going to Mr. Stack, but he's got a lot of different. Our real estate guy is a guy out of Texas, and we've got environmental guys and some economic folks from the different colleges around the country in the southeast. So that's where a lot of that money's going. So out of that $160,000, about $155,000 of it is going to be for our legal team. The other $5,000 is going to be for has been for signs, advertising, our text message service. We've got over 900 people now that are getting our text message alerts. Our website, we got a very good website, haralsonalliance.org, very informative, and postage. And so I don't know if he can zoom in or not, but we're going to be putting up these around the community, these little thermometers, fundraising thermometers. You've probably seen these. And it shows our total budget of $160,000, and right now we're at about $95,000. We're needing to raise about another $65,000.
All right, we got 30 seconds. I got another question I want to ask you. How do people donate?
They can donate at our website, haralsonalliance.org, or mail a check to Haralson Alliance, P.O. Box 501, Tallapoosa 30176.
Okay, I think it's well known that there's a potential for litigation if the Haralson County Board of Commissioners votes against this. Any potential for litigation from anybody else if they vote in favor of this?
Well, there's always that potential. We do know that in Texas, the board, this same group, the commissioners approved it, and the citizens group fought it out there and wound up winning. So,
okay. Well, guys, thank you very much for coming out again this morning. Are you guys scheduled to come on here one more time? Are we later on in the month?
Possibly. Yeah. I think it's tentative right now.
After that Tuesday's thing. Okay. Well, the commissioners will hear the presentation on Tuesday, 6 o'clock. It's at the gymnasium in Buchanan.
Right.
Our guests this morning, Haralson County Alliance for Responsible Waste Management, Johnny Wright and Scott Cosper. Thank you for tuning in for this morning's Community Voice. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I believe Josh is back hosting the show tomorrow, and we'll be speaking with Keep Carroll Beautiful, another big event they have coming up. So, again, enjoy the rest of your Thursday.